the daughter of Prince Bernard and Queen Juliana, Princess Beatrix, was born just before the outbreak of World War II. During the war, she and her mother lived in exile in Canada, while her father and grandmother, Queen Wilhelmina, directed the Dutch government from London. In 1948, a few years after returning to the Netherlands, Princess Beatrix became the heir to the Dutch throne following her grandmother's abdication. In 1966, Beatrix married German Claus von Emsberg, a union initially surrounded by controversy but later embraced by the public. The couple had 3 children, Willem Alexander, Prince Friso, and Prince Constantijn. In 1980, Queen Juliana stepped down, and Princess Beatrix ascended the throne as Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands. She became a widow in 2002 after the passing of Prince Claus. In 2013, Queen Beatrix abdicated in favor of her son, Willem Alexander, and reverted to the title of princess. Despite stepping down, she remains active in royal duties, attending state banquets and receptions. Now, let's delve into the splendid collection of royal jewels. Our journey begins with the Wurttemberg ornate pearl tiara. This magnificent piece is considered one of the oldest in the Dutch royal collection. Originally crafted by jeweler A.H. Koen in Stuttgart in 1839 for Queen Sophie of the Netherlands, it was later modified in 1897 by Jo. Edwardsham and Company, Frankfurt. The modification allowed the tiara to be adorned with 11 pear-shaped pearls in its most grandiose configuration, alongside a second setting with 5 pearls atop the tiara, a third setting with 6 pearls between the upper elements, and a simpler version without any pearls. However, recent findings reveal that the tiara was actually created in 1897 by Jo. Edwardsham and Company, Frankfurt. This natural pearl tiara, once belonging to Queen Sophie, was passed down to her sons, who, in 1884, left it to their half-sister, Princess Wilhelmina. Judging by the timing, this tiara was modified around the time Queen Wilhelmina reached adulthood, and it adorned her in her first official portraits alongside the Romanov pearl and diamond tiara. Following Queen Wilhelmina's abdication and Queen Juliana's inauguration in 1948, the Wurttemberg ornate pearl tiara came into Queen Juliana's possession. However, she rarely wore it, favoring the Stuart tiara instead. In 1966, the Wurttemberg ornate pearl tiara was fully showcased when Crown Princess Beatrix chose it for her wedding to Claus von Emsberg. Throughout Queen Beatrix's 33-year reign, the Wurttemberg ornate pearl tiara was undoubtedly her favorite. As she never wore the Stuart tiara, the Wurttemberg tiara stood out as one of the most magnificent tiaras in her collection, along with the sapphire tiara. Like her grandmother, she frequently paired it with the Romanov pearl and diamond necklace. Even after her abdication, Princess Beatrix continued to don the Wurttemberg ornate pearl tiara, and there's no doubt we will see it again. Now, let us move on to the next piece, the Dutch antique pearl tiara. This tiara features 7 large vertical pear-shaped pearls set atop a base of diamond strawberry leaves, and can be worn with or without the pearls. The largest 4 pearls belong to Princess Amalia of Orange, née Soms-Braunfels, who was Princess of Orange from 1625 to 1647 and regent from 1650 to 1672. The antique pearl tiara was commissioned by Queen Wilhelmina between 1900 and 1910, modeled after a similar tiara that belonged to her grandmother, Queen Anna Pavlovna, who was Queen of the Netherlands from 1840 to 1849 and passed away more than 2 decades before Wilhelmina's birth. Queen Wilhelmina wore the antique pearl tiara for portraits and on several rare occasions over the years, but it remained in her possession until her death in 1962. A few years later, it was transferred to the Orange-Nassau Family Foundation. It then came into the possession of Queen Juliana, who wore the antique pearl tiara several times from the 1960s to the 1980s. Princess Beatrix became the primary wearer of the antique pearl tiara from the late 1950s, and it became a staple in her rotation along with the Wurttemberg ornate pearl tiara and Queen Emma's diamond tiara. Queen Beatrix continued to wear the antique pearl tiara regularly after ascending the throne in 1980. In 2001, the base of the antique pearl tiara became the first tiara that then Maxima Zorigui wore. After her abdication, Princess Beatrix continued to wear the antique pearl tiara, maintaining its presence in the royal appearances. However, nowadays, it is more frequently seen on Queen Maxima. Next in our collection is the Queen Emma diamond tiara. In 1890, King William III of the Netherlands commissioned this diamond tiara for his wife, Queen Emma. Crafted by Koninklijke Begeer in Utrecht for 50,000 guilders, the tiara features 3 removable diamond rosettes that can be replaced with other stones, and it can be topped with 5 detachable diamond stars. Unfortunately, the tiara was completed only after the king's death and was delivered to Queen Emma a few weeks after his passing. Queen Emma was first depicted wearing her diamond tiara without the stars in one of her initial portraits as the regent of the Netherlands for her daughter, Queen Wilhelmina. A few years later, Queen Emma wore the diamond tiara with the diamond stars at the wedding of her only daughter, Queen Wilhelmina, and Duke Henry of Mecklenburg-Schwerin. After Queen Emma's death in 1934, the diamond tiara was among the jewels inherited by Queen Wilhelmina, who wore it with the diamond stars at various events in the 1930s and 1940s. The tiara was gifted to Queen Juliana in the 1950s. Although she never wore it herself, she added it to the Orange-Nassau Family Foundation, making it available to other family members. The Queen Emma diamond tiara became a favorite of then Crown Princess Beatrix in the 1960s and remains a cherished piece to this day. Let's take a look at another masterpiece, the Dutch Malario ruby tiara. This stunning parure was commissioned by King William III as a 30th birthday gift for Queen Emma from the renowned French jeweler Malario Ditzmeller in 1888, designed by the famous Oscar Marsin for an extraordinary sum of 160,000 guilders. The initial order for the parure, intended to feature sapphires, originally included a tiara, necklace, bracelet, and fan, incorporating over 961 precious stones. However, the necklace was deemed too bulky before completion, so a corsage ornament and an additional brooch were created instead. Now, the substantial parure consists of a tiara, a pair of versatile earrings, a necklace, a bracelet, a corsage, a brooch, and a fan. Additionally, many pieces from the Malario ruby set are often paired with items from the Dutch ruby peacock parure, offering numerous magnificent combinations. The Malario ruby tiara is the 4th largest tiara in the vast Dutch royal collection. Unfortunately, King William III passed away a year after the delivery of the Malario ruby parure, and Queen Emma became the Queen Regent for her daughter, Queen Wilhelmina. She wore the tiara in a portrait in 1891 with diamonds instead of rubies to signify mourning. Queen Emma continued to wear the Malario ruby parure at numerous events and in portraits throughout her life, utilizing its versatility to its fullest extent. Queen Juliana wore the Malario ruby parure corsage at her inauguration in 1948 and continued to wear it at many significant events, portraits, and state visits. She preferred to wear almost all pieces of the Malario ruby parure simultaneously and was the last to wear the full corsage. Princess Beatrix began wearing the Malario ruby parure when she was crown princess, but the tiara was not worn as frequently after she became queen. The last time Queen Beatrix wore the tiara was during a state visit to Oman in 2012. Queen Maxima started wearing the Malario ruby parure while still crown princess. The Malario ruby tiara was featured in portraits released for King Willem Alexander's inauguration in 2013, and the parure has since become one of Queen Maxima's favorite pieces. Continuing the family tradition that the tiara is worn only by the current and future queens, Princess of Orange was the first to wear the Malario ruby tiara, trying it on in 2012 at the age of 8. And which jewelry impressed you the most? Write in the comments.